Hello, my divine sea stars and bro stars. How are you today? I hope everything is going well. Just hang in there. The event has started. Look at my event video, and I think it is exactly like that. And we didn't get the flash yet. I think we will once we hatch from our eggs, the spiritual eggs. We may actually get, I think we will get a physical flash of light, because what is happening is that this experience that we are going through as humanity and as individuals is a unification of the material 3D experience and higher levels of 5D and so. Of course, the 4D is the matrix. I have an image like that. I mean, of course, it's not just the 4D, maybe, but 4D is the key of the matrix. And it's my thing. As beings who have been created in the 3D realm and who has the objective of reconnecting the consciousness which is inhabited in the 3D with the higher realms, we have an enormous task to do. Science is looking for how to do this, and this is what we are doing. We are doing something that the science is seeking to accomplish in their definition of how the humans work, and as a tool for how to create AI. But we as humanity are going through that. And it's an enormous task. It's an enormous task to unify the 3D and the 5D, and this is what we have to be able to do so that we can really step into what we were meant to be. Now, I want to say first, I want to say that I kind of listen to all the conspiracy theories about our history, about our current states and all of that. But I think finally what everything we are going through is nothing but a natural process of birthing. What is birthing? Is a spiritual being, the soul that we have been talking about all these ages. Like, we die and we go to heaven. Who is that we? Our soul, right? All the cultures talked about that, right? We always said our soul goes to heaven or hell and that, but moves on. So that soul, which we inhabit very ineffectively, very poorly, which doesn't get reflected into our lives, because it's always the 3D mind that dominates with all this scripting and scheming and all those, intelligent things that it thinks it does to be able to manipulate the environment so that it can survive. This has to be integrated. This has to be integrated as a group, collective intelligence or consciousness or a system, a harmonious system. It has to be integrated first. The 4D, obviously, we have to be able to understand the synchronous time, not just the linear time. But also we have to start unifying with the no time, which is the 5D version of ourselves. we are at this stage, at this very crucial time on earth of uniting the spirit and the material embodied in ourselves, in our lives, in our thinking, in our language, in our emotions, in our etheric bodies, and our physical bodies, hopefully. So, it is an enormous task. Hang in there, go with the flow. But know that this is not necessarily at all. This is not necessarily a conspiracy issue. It's not an evil issue that we are, going to fight. We are working with. Oh, the darkness. Yes, the world is right now in a bit of a chaos, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, the coronavirus comes, everybody, whoa, and then it's sold, and it's like, cool. Things come and go, but everything coming and going is teaching us something. And our task is not to freak out, oh my God, but to understand what is that something. Not like, oh, you had to be a good person, otherwise the coronavirus will kill you. Or if you were bad, that's why the coronavirus killed you. No, those are old teachings. And we have to evolve from the right and the wrong and start understanding and focusing on what is it? What is that something that I or we need to learn? That is our key to evolution. That something is not something that is old. That is something completely new. Now let's think about it. We are spiritual beings. God is infinite. The Godhead is infinite. The great mystery is infinite. The whole creation is infinite. And as far as we can imagine, we have solved until up to 12 dimensions, but we can see there may be even more dimensions that our mathematics is not capable of solving at this point. But if God is infinite, and if God has given given a part of itself to us as humans, that means we carry the same infinity and the same creator or co-creator aspect. So that I think is giving you the image that this is a very, very, very monumental birthing. So, what we have to do is, I think, to really keep that perspective in our minds at all times. Let me, and kind of stay away from the conspiracies, not in the sense that, let's just, kind of ignore everything. No, obviously not, because we are uniting 3D and 5D and above. You see what I mean? We cannot ignore the 3D, but we are combining them. We are uniting them. Let me give you an example that I think is a much more visual analogy. And actually, this is a theory of mine that I'm really starting to subscribe. Okay? Because we have some in this world, we have some serious problems. When I look at those people, which I go like, oh, they're bad, and I hate them, I'm like, oh, they are causing so much. But when I look at that, when I look at the bad people, characters in my reality, you know what I see? Is that they do bad things, but they get away with it. Like they can be kicking a dog and they don't get kicked. Have you ever trained a dog or a child or a fish? We say fish memory, right? No, even the fish has a memory, obviously. They would be like barnacles, and even barnacles would have memory, some form of it. But when you are training a dog, you know what? The very big mistake that many people do, of course it goes with every other animal and every other being, and children too, and people. You know what you do wrong? Is like the dog does something, and some stuff happen in between. 5 minutes pass, 2 minutes pass, 5 seconds pass, but some stuff happen in between, and then you punish the dog. You say, no. That happened to me the other day. I witnessed this, and the poor dog, he was like, I have no idea what's going on. And I had to tell to this guy, I said, you are only torturing this dog right now. Because he has no clue. He barked after a car maybe 20 minutes ago. And then some people came and complained about the dog, about something else. And the owner got all irritated and started beating the dog, like, bam, bam, yeah? And I said, no, this dog is not understanding what's going on. You are punishing the dog because he chases the people on the bicycles or the cars, and then your reason that you get so aggravated is because these people are complaining right now, and the dog doesn't understand what's going on, of course, what they're complaining about. And then you're suddenly turning and punishing this dog. You are literally torturing this dog right now. The dog has absolutely no clue as to what's happening. So it's just punishment out of nowhere, and it's called torture. And the karma is something like that too, right? Cause and effect, cause and effect. Now, in my conspiracy theory thing, mentality or perspective, which I kind of like jumping out of as often as I can, but in my conspiracy perspective, I believe that whoever wanted to, of course, because God utilizes means to be able to create. Oh, these are so deep topics, because every sentence I can open up for another, half an hour. Sorry, guys. I hope I'm not jumping around. I know I do sometimes, not sometimes, but whatever. And then I skip sentences, so I'm trying not to. I'm trying to kind of go in a linear fashion as much as I can. But one of the things that this world is set up, that sets us up to fall into the darkness, is the timing between the cause and the effect. The karma has a very long duration. And whoever studied behavioral psychology, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Too much time in between, stuff happening in between, doesn't teach the organism why and how. I think the longest thing is digestion. You can eat something 7 hours ago, and then you get nausea, and you can attribute, because the system works like that. The organism knows that digestion takes time, so can make that correlation in the mind and attribute the cause to that food. But other than that, we are practically clueless. So, as far as I know, there's no other long duration thing. Okay? So it is very, very easy for us to do something and not get the consequence that would be teaching. Like, you touch the fire and it burns. Instant consequence, we learn. But you hurt somebody, you don't get punished, you don't see them physically hurting, like you may emotionally hurt somebody, and you don't get an immediate response. Even if you do stuff like that, you can attribute to some other stuff. But the duration between the cause and the effect, the karma loop, has, I think, been way too long. Way too long. And all the bad people that are in that situation, they don't get the repercussion of their evil deeds within their own lifetimes. Forget about instant karma. We're talking about life at this, very only one. They need to wait for reincarnation. According to some religions, they will go to hell forever. But, if I were a god, I wouldn't create somebody to go to hell forever. Why would I do something like that unless if I were somebody who's like a narcissistic, I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to an evil god, okay? But it doesn't, the karma time is way too long. That's one thing. And the second thing is that this world has been made to really, it's based on hurting others. Let's think about it. Throughout the evolution, have we been eating animals? Nowadays more and more people are becoming vegetarians. Cool, really cool. But throughout the history until now, except maybe certain cultures, we have been eating animals. And animals have been eating animals. And honestly, like if you're eating lettuce, for example, you're eating a plant. And they have shown that plants do react too. In my mind, the only thing we are supposed to be eating is just fruits and berries and nuts. Otherwise, obviously if we are killing an animal, it's a big no, because the pain is way too much. But maybe the plants feel pain too, so we're kind of like doomed. We have to hurt. When we are walking, we step on insects and we hurt. Hurting others is practically inevitable. I'm living in my house and then the pigeon comes and hits the glass. I didn't do anything. But I am the one who placed the glass there. So, we have, the second thing is that this world has been set up such that we have to hurt. Our existence cannot be 100% pure. Even the Buddha stepped on insects and killed them. Until we reach the crystalline body system. We are all hoping that we become this, we evolve into our crystalline bodies where we won't have to kill to be able to eat. Maybe we will be able to really manifest. I mean, I love meat, the taste of the meat I love, but I am no more interested in eating meat because I can't carry that weight anymore. Not energetically, not mentally, not emotionally. I'm like, okay, I'd rather just, not eat and die, maybe. I don't care. I don't want to. As far as I know myself, I don't want to. But then I eat vegetables, and we see that they react too. But what I'm trying to say is that this world has been based on just this killing and hurting. Now let's go back to the creation story. We are meant to be this world. Every physical creation is meant to be a bridge between itself and the higher realms, as long as obviously they have been created through the higher realms directly. Indirectly, like AI, I don't know, that's a different topic, whether they can receive a soul or they can't. And we have to be extremely careful about that, because we, with our own ignorance, may be bringing us into like this wizard apprentice thing. We may be doing something that we may get under a whole lot of load of responsibility that we won't be able to fix. So we have to be extremely careful about the creation of AI. That's another thing. But everything in material is meant, which is directly created by God, is meant to be a bridge. What do I mean by direct creation? Here comes the topic after 22 minutes. Whoop. Now, humanity didn't have enough knowledge to be able to conceive certain concepts until now. I don't know. I wouldn't call them idiots because, when you are in the ignorance, even the smallest things you do is a genius. Because you're creating that intellectual step. But if you know everything and you do something small, it's not really genius at all, isn't it? Like inventing the wheel, it was a genius. Anyway, that's different. But people until now were not able to really comprehend what a miracle is. Now, miracle may be something that happens with no time lapse, but maybe something that has 1,000,000-year time lapse. Okay? And that's one of the things that I want to finally connect back to the karma thing, because time lapse has a different pattern. Immediate times versus longer times versus even longer times have their unity points, the connection points that form the patterns within that frame. Okay? But people until now, when they talked about miracles, they always talked about instant miracles. And every time they wanted to understand, they understood it like that, like if God creates a cat, here comes the cat out of the blue, poof, full cat. Now, it may happen, I don't know. But I think it's ridiculous. It's like playing a game, and if you have ever played games, you build a character and you don't want to grind to up level your character, or you grind and then you go like, oh well, I just want to reach hundreds right away because I'm tired of doing this and that. So you cheat and then you bring your character to 100, and if you have ever done that, it is like it makes no sense. It has no meaning to it. It has no meaning to it. Why it doesn't have the meaning to it? Because it doesn't have a history. It doesn't have the history to make it elegant, make it solid, make it real. It just is like a sticker that you kind of stick on the refrigerator, right? It's like, you agree with me if you played the computer game. You know what I'm talking about. So it's just like that. If God kind of go poof out of the blue, there's your cat, or there's your alien, whatever, there's you. It makes no sense. On the contrary, now, as I have complained, well, I guess it was a complaint, that, we have to hurt others to be able to survive. Think about it. If God wanted to create a cat, an elegant cat, a cat is an ultimate elegance, power, independence, sovereignty, and excellent senses. So to be a cat means that you have all these skills. I mean, like a cat can catch its victim really elegantly, aesthetically, beautifully, because every muscle, everything is meant for that. He or she is a wonderful hunter, an elegant hunter. So God wants to create cat, and we know that instant creation is what, and so what is God going to do? God is going to create earth. Earth is going to have these conditions that will force the animals to do certain things. Now, this is a different perspective of evolution, and I'm really adamant about that, and I'm so happy that finally I can talk about this. Because I remember once I talked with a friend who was into these things, and I said, it makes no sense when the Darwinian evolution people talk about chance. Mutations through chance. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I instead, because it's you have so many chance, like my hand sitting like this versus my hand sitting like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, is a different chance probability, and I cannot have a different universe for all these different aspects. I mean, yeah, in ideal infinite times whatever, then I can, but it's obsolete. God doesn't create anything obsolete. Everything has a purpose. So in that discussion with my friend who was I don't know what the branch was, but he was in biology or something like that. And I said, I think he was in biology, obviously. I said, there has to be some choice points. Like it's not like I have a giraffe that kind of is like this and wins to be the next one in the succession of the lineage, because he has a neck a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer until they reach the tree where now they can eat. It makes no sense. But choice points and spirit, the intention, united, makes a lot of sense. Now I can understand evolution. Because if I were a giraffe and I had a short neck and I saw the fruit on the tree and I wanted to reach, I would have that intention to reach. And if I couldn't bring that out in my DNA to kind of grow my neck during that lifetime, I would pass that intention to my next my children, and then they would have longer necks, and they would have longer until, if I'm meanwhile surviving 5 generations down the road, they may have long enough necks to be able to reach the fruits on the trees. And now I have succeeded to have a surviving lineage. That makes sense. And I'm very happy that nowadays people are talking about choice points. I have been out of academia for a long time. So I have not been able to follow all these things. But this was my argument, I don't know, 2000 something, with a friend. Besides, I'm a psychologist, I'm not a biologist, we were just chatting. But that's something I have been thinking about. And I'm so happy to see that these things are working. Now, I'm combining it back to the cat. If I were a god and I wanted to create cat, and time was not a problem for me, I didn't need to bring like that. I wanted to cook this thing, I wanted to have a history, a meaning, a beauty that comes through the meaning. Then I would make sure this cat, or that lineage, that branch that will become a cat, because in my blueprint I have a cat, but there's nothing yet. But that branch will be forced to jump, to fall on 4 legs, to have vision, ears, claws, and all of that. I would force the environment so that this organism, which comes from the water and then goes to the land and so forth. Sorry for if I'm talking ignorantly, I'm old school. Goes to the land and then grows into this branch, that branch, and so forth, and then finally gets to be the cat or the lion or the tiger or the cheetah. Beautiful animals. Why are they like that? Because they were forced to be like that. They all had their own take on it. The lion became like that, the cheetah became like that, the household. I heard this and I really loved this statement. God created house cats, the cat, so that people can pet and become friends with the big cats. Well, yeah, kind of true, isn't it? We can cuddle them as much as we can. We want to. We can have a beautiful relationship with some creature that would be, under normal circumstances, deadly to us. That's a very nice gift from the Creator. So the point is, to be a cat, you have to evolve as a lineage of cats. The essence of cat has to evolve through evolution and to become a cat in its perfect state. Now, the story doesn't end there. Humans are not finished. Maybe cats are not finished either. We have the next step of becoming crystalline. But I was listening to this talk show the other day, yesterday in fact, and they were talking like, when we become crystalline, we will not be physical anymore. I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't have a logical, scientific, whatever reason to say, oh, this is why I don't, but I don't. I don't agree with that simply because of the fact that it would make it completely nonsense. Because if I am a spiritual being on earth, living a human experience, Dalai Lama said this years ago in a Kalachakra ceremony. I heard that. It's his word. People don't confuse it, okay? It's quoted from Dalai Lama. If we are spiritual beings having a human existence instead of human beings having a spiritual experience, that means I am not here to become spirit. If I were to be just a spirit, and why would I go through all this? I mean, you know, even when you travel to some country, you get a simple, thing to remind you, right? So at one degree, at one level, we have to keep our physical aspect. In my understanding, we will be able to manipulate the quantum field so well that we will learn how to manipulate the quantum field so well that we will be able to become completely blood and bone, meat suit, or we can just, we will be able to just become etheric, and we will be able to just, practically imagination will be our own, limit, the only limit we have. But our base will be physical. And it's not like we are going to leave this world and we will not be able to swim in the ocean or, do bungee jumping and play the guitar and stuff like that. It's not like that. We will be able to play the guitar, do bungee jumping, swim in the ocean, because we chose to unite the spirit and the material. Not to give up on the material, but to have it as a big buffet, like open buffet. That's what we are trying to become. We are trying to become an open buffet of all kinds of being and existing in a state of mature, creative existence. That means we will be able to move in and out of different forms, and many shamanic traditions, they used to do that. Shapeshifters. I think we're just going to be elegant shapeshifters. Right now we are going to shift our shape into crystalline. That's the next step of the human evolution. But I think after that we are going to learn things that is like, right now there's no sense in discussing what will happen after that, because right now we cannot even wrap our minds around this shift that we are going through, let alone be able to kind of comprehend what kinds of other shifts are waiting for us in an infinite manner, because creation is infinite and God is infinite. And if God, kind of gave some of its soul to us, as told in every book religion, then we are looking at an infinite level up situation. What I'm trying to say in summary is that yes, we can draw all kinds of scenarios, and they may be true, because, the creation doesn't have a very limited source or ways or means of doing things. Creation has infinite ways of doing things. And that may be the reason, in Quran it says, God says, or Allah says, I am as what you think of me. Whoa, that's a heavy topic, right? I am. Ben sizin zannınız üzereyim. In Turkish. But anyway, so we can create any kind of universal creation scenario that our background, our minds filter and create. And that all will be correct. Just like, blind people holding the elephant, right? All are correct. I mean, if you're seeing like very negative conspiracies, it may be correct. Collectively, we may agree on that, even. But I think what we really have to do is to kind of start seeing the main pattern behind all of these stories. And I think the main pattern behind all of these stories has to be something that we can relate to as we observe nature and creation. When we align ourselves with nature and creation, then we will be able to kind of really get into the pattern, really see the dynamics, and really start understanding what we are supposed to be understanding that we have no clue backing us from our memories and past learnings. That is how we understand what is that experience teaching us. That's the question, isn't it? What is this experience teaching me? What is? Not, which part of the old book that I have done wrong, or which part of the old book that I have done right. Not what my mother said or father said, No. It's something new. Completely new. Open up mind. Open up everything. That's why in one of my videos I said, we're becoming really intelligent. Because we are having to see patterns that are way completely out of this world. Out of this world. Because our world is our creation based on our perspective, based on our filters, mental filters that define this creation. And it all happened so that we can start evolving and developing that heart mind, gönül gözü, heart mind, so that we can start seeing. All of these things we can explain as conspiracy. All of these things we can explain as our shadow side. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what we are going through and what we are in the process of learning. I don't want to even say have to, because that brings an obligation and a deadline, and that doesn't work like that. We are just, eggs. We just got conceived. Yeah, it might have taken millions, and we call it the fall. No. This whole opposition was for us to wake up to the other dimension. It wasn't for us to suffer. Yeah, it wasn't for us to just go in pain and reincarnate and some archons invading us and all of that. I really wanted to say screw archons. Can I please? Really? I mean, they are as powerful as you give them the power. But of course, you wouldn't jump on the highway saying that I don't give the truck who is coming really fast towards me to hit me and kill me. You wouldn't say that because you're not ready for that. We are pushed to think in various perspectives, various levels, various dimensions, various everything. Not anymore dichotomies, no more dichotomies, guys. We cannot do that anymore. And all that has been happening is for a purpose, to load meaning, because everything is based on meaning. I don't know what really meaning is, but meaning it's meaning, it's a long discussion what a meaning is. But thinking about that computer game thing, it becomes meaningless if you cheat. So the system makes you fall back, and then reteaches that to you, makes you grind even more maybe, so that you kind of get cleaned up from all this false activities, false programs, not programs now. Well, I'm not saying false programs like, somebody placed a program. No. I mean, it has its truth value, but right now I'm not talking about that truth value. I'm talking about your programs, your ideas, your thoughts, your constructs, your schemas, scripts, and all of that. We have to get over that, and that's how it works. So in the beginning of my video, I was practically, I really wanted to complain, because I complain about this when I see, oh my god, how is this whole thing going to get fixed? Oh my god, this has been a manipulation, because the karma is not as instant as it can get, and it's with that long duration between cause and effect. People are not that smart. Humanity is not that smart to be able to comprehend these things. But we have to become smart, and that's what the universe is calling us to do. We have to accept ourselves when we hurt another person as a part of the world. It's a part of the life. Not that we should go and hurt people, but we should understand and forgive ourselves that we are a part of the universe, and this part of the universe is an intricate link for the whole picture, the painting of the universe. We are just a little link in the fabric, a little knot of the fabric of this big painting. And I kind of give a lot of, I want to give, because, my fellow people may, if they kind of figure this out, whatever. But in Quran also, it talks about, it says, I mature you guys simultaneously. And Jung talks about the same synchronistic time. And some shamanist groups also talk about synchronistic time, and I think it's getting more and more accepted that we have a linear time plus a synchronistic time. Two different times. Two different formats. So we may need to start utilizing our synchronistic time and be able to, when you become a grandmother, you see that what you have done as a granddaughter or grandson to your grandparents, now they do the same thing to you. And you go like, yeah, has been, so many years, but now I see that this was not a good behavior. I see the pattern. I understand what was wrong, what the condition was, and how did it serve the degeneration of that family system, the union, the blossoming of that flower of family. How did it degenerate, wither? And maybe that's why I'm a lonely grandfather or a grandmother. None of my grandchildren call me. A very extreme example, maybe, I don't know, but it's long duration, right? And so what do? We just go like, I learned, I understood as a human being, I understand that this is a pattern. And when you understand, it is resolved in the universal grid or system. It's understood. Maybe more elegantly put, in the Akash. You see it, you resolve it, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was doing, but I see it's wrong. So if you ever get into that, you don't have to be a grandfather to do that. If you get into that, it's so much better, so serves you so much more, and serves everybody else so much more, to just say, yeah, I get it. And I will act the opposite of what I believe was wrong. Not the opposite in the sense that, I'll just swing from one side of the pendulum to the other side, but I mean, like, I will undo in my future actions what I was doing. And obviously we have to keep the balance of all aspects, because we are multified and we have to get that multified unified, within and without. Was a long story. A coughing spree. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening to me. If you really took the 1 hour to listen to this, I really appreciate. I kind of presented many ideas that I had for a long time, and I'm kind of going through my own life stuff, so I have not been able to kind of follow things a lot, but life took me in a different direction. And I don't know, I mean, I have been thinking of, first of all, if you liked it, please, make sure you give a thumbs up, because that makes me understand that, yeah, I wasn't babbling for them. I kind of talk for me. I don't want to be doing a monologue. But also, on the other hand, I'm thinking of maybe writing these things in a more in a book format, not because this is a very casual conversation format, and if you tell me to back up this, back up that, in a book you have to do that, so it will require me to invest a lot of time. And if you guys think that would be a good idea to kind of put it in a, not even a blog, because in a blog, again, you don't have to really support, but in a book you have to do a lot of research to be able to kind of present your ideas. So kind of, if you guys want to, I don't know, maybe I'm talking really ignorantly, because maybe this is like people are already writing books and talking, so that's why I said life has taken me in a different path. I don't know if this is a new idea or an old idea that nobody wants to listen anymore, but I seriously doubt that nobody wants to listen anymore, because it's not old like that. But I don't know, just give me feedback if you don't mind to give me feedback. I really will appreciate that, because I would like to see, like, if you're already in, as you are already into these things, you might be able to kind of go like, oh well, whatever. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your patience, and I hope I have been able to express my ideas clearly. That's about it. So thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day and wonderful the rest of this journey of 2020. It seems like it's going to be a little like whoosh, whitewater rafting. Just make sure you don't keep banging your head on those rocks that might have hit you. Like you might have hit the rocks and then you go like, this bad rock, I hit my head, or he hit me because I was going my way, and then he happened to be, or it happened to be on my way, and I like hit it, and that bad rock did hurt me, so here I am making sure this bad rock will be punished. Just let go. I'm always giving the same advice to myself, okay, guys? So please never ever take when I say like, let go. It definitely includes me. You all know about it. So, that's a different thing about talking between normal people and, bro stars and sea stars, because there's a huge difference of understanding. And I hope we will all just, be in the sunshine real soon. Let the sun shine in. Thank you, guys. Namaste. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.